Welcome back, everyone, to the Roman Show, and all the way from Pennsylvania, we have the drummer of Ascent Like Wolves, Cody, joining us on the line. Their new album drops in February 19th, to be exact, Mystic Auras. But they're giving us a little bit of a couple of teases already, as they've been dropping some songs on your favorite platform there that you use. One of them being the most recent one, Poison. And I got to tell you, it's a banger. Cody, thanks so much for joining us right here on the program. How you doing, man?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, man. Really appreciate it. We just dropped Poison today. It's our fourth new single for the album that comes out in February. It's on Spotify's new core playlist and new metal tracks if you want to check it out. But it's available on all streaming platforms.
I got to tell you, it's definitely a hard-hitting song there, Poison. And from what I grabbed from it, from what I've read from it, says it talks about a collapsing relationship. Tell me a little bit about the lyrics behind that. I can really kind of relate to that whole. There's a lyric that you say, I choose to drink the poison. I think that we've been, most of us, some of us have been in relationships where we know it's horrible, but we choose to, like you say, drink that poison because for whatever reason, and then hopefully you snap out of it and you realize, man, I should have never drank that thing. But tell me a little bit about that, the lyrics behind it, and does it hit close to home, or the band itself, or yourself?
I think everybody can kind of relate to that. Anybody who's really cared for somebody or been in a relationship where you both kind of see that it's falling apart, but like at the same time, like you don't want to have the acceptance of that because you care about each other so much still that you don't want to hurt each other, you know? Mm-hmm. But the song Poison stresses the helpless feelings of a collapsing relationship between two people that were seemingly perfect for one another. Thematically, it also highlights the miscommunications and low points that lead to the situation. All good things must come to an end in the long run. It's a really sad song.
I could definitely hear it. So, what's the gist of Mystic Auras? Again, you've released some of the singles already, but in a nutshell, what would you say that you were going for, a message you were going for in general with the album, as we anticipate its arrival very soon?
Our vocalists, Nick and Al, actually they're brothers, so that really helps with the collaboration. We have two vocalists. They did a great job at kind of putting the concept behind this album, and I guess the overlying concept, I would say, would be like what drives people's desires in life, whether they be good desires or bad desires, and kind of the destructive nature of all of them.
And can you yourself kind of get, in other words, they hit close to home on your end, and when they write the album itself, you say about the vocalists, the brothers, that they get together and collaborate, but how much, like yourself, the drummer, has an input there as far as the lyrics goes?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these guys are like my brothers in a sense as well. I mean, I've grown with them as well, and I've seen, I've definitely kind of, I know some of the things that they're talking about in their personal life struggles that kind of relate to the music, and I've seen them go through these things that invoke these lyrics. And myself personally, I mean, I felt all these things too. I mean, we're kind of a really core group of friends, as well as like being in the business of a band as well. And I mean, I think we all kind of relate to all the things that they're saying in all of these songs.
So 2013, 2016, those were your last albums. How has the band changed or matured over the time with this album coming into play?
Each album, I think, has significant growth, kind of just as we're growing as people and musicians, and just kind of as like the genres are kind of expanding and innovating on their own. The first album in 2013, I actually wasn't on that album. I joined the band in 2014, and I tracked Frigid Future, our 2018 album, EP Spirit Vessel, and then this new one, Mystic Auras. I have a big role in all the writing of that. But And the Story Goes is kind of like your angsty, like, metalcore album, like, pretty straightforward, kind of like Escape the Fate, like, almost kind of crabcore-ish, you know? Attack Attack kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Got some features from Franz from Attila on there, which is pretty cool, and Ricky Armelino from the band Mr. Apocalypse. He's now in the band Hawk. Then 2016, we kind of, I think, really started to grab hold of what our sound is. Nick, our second vocalist, Al's brother, actually joined the band in right after "And the Story Goes" was tracked, which is actually why we ended up reissuing that album with all the Nick's vocals on, just because we feel like it didn't really serve our band justice without having Nick's screams on there. But yeah, for the Future, the 2016 album, that's the one I started with them. And I think it incorporates a lot more technicality. There's like a lot more, like, I guess you could say, like, gent and like kind of prog elements mixed in with the kind of emo, screamo, alternative themes. Spirit Vessel, the EP in 2018, gets we really kind of tried to mess around with like heavier tones. We started using F sharp tuning, 7-string guitars, and really kind of focused on like a duality between like really clean kind of like Angels and Airways kind of like dotted eighth note delay parts and like clean parts and ambience mixed with like really heavy chug tones from the guitars. And then that album's pretty. We actually got Ryoki Nishida from Crystal Lake to feature on that one, which is pretty sick. And then that band's awesome.
Man, well, you know what? You skipped. I'm gonna have to skip now since you missed in Ryu. I actually got to see them in Japan. They were all touring. Awesome. Yeah, man, and it's insane. You know, and you guys have toured in Japan, and you kind of know how that whole atmosphere is.
There, just the energy is just, it's like I don't know. I think here in the U.S. we have it too good with bands. Like we're just almost oversaturated with bands touring and stuff. Where like when you go to like other countries, like we've been to Japan, China, South Korea. They don't. It's really hard for international bands to get over there. So like when they do have a band come over there, they just go nuts. It's awesome. We actually had the pleasure of Rio actually ended up coming to our last show in 2018, and our final date in Japan in Tokyo. He actually surprised us and jumped on stage and actually did Angel Wrath with us, which was awesome. And then their first show in the United States, I think it was 2019. We actually we got to play with them in Philadelphia, and he also got to do a feature with us, which was it was just so cool. Probably one of my favorite show moments, just kind of seeing that guy just jump on stage out of nowhere, like not expecting him to be there.
Yeah, the guy definitely has a lot of energy. So, how did you guys get this collaboration going with Rio? And I took note that here when your album, the second album, back in 2016, which was Frigid Future, it was a pretty trending album in Japan. So what would you attribute that to?
I really attribute a lot of it to just like the personal connection like my vocalist Al has with a lot of these Japanese artists out there. Like we have a bunch of friends over there in the bands. I'm just going to shout out a few: Sailing Before the Wind, Pale Dusk, Fode, Mild Rage, Abstracts. All incredible bands. And I think it's just we got before we signed the Weird Triumphant back in 2015. We actually first got picked up by a smaller Japanese label called Maxstream Records, which really kind of paved the way for us really getting in there with Japan. And then we signed this Weird Triumphant then after that too for all other territories besides Japan. And part of the contingency with signing the Maxstream Records was we gave them 2 unique B-side songs. So there's actually 2 more Scent Like Wolf songs that are like specific only to Japan. And they're kind of hard to find. And then we also were going to go tour over there, and they set us up in Tower. They set us up with so much help from Tower Records, and it just did great. They set us up with R&R tours then too, and we just were able to do really well over there. Then we ended up going in 2016 with the French band Shoot the Girl First. Awesome band. And they invited us back then in 2018, as well as China, and it's been crazy. We're hoping to go back again. We just got to see what's going on with the craziness of the world right now. Who knows what the hell that'll happen. But
I know. We just have to be patient. But, here's one interesting thing, and maybe I'd love to pick your ear on this. Listening to other bands, we talk about these Japanese bands, we talk about these French bands. Some folks here in America, it's thankfully for like services like Spotify and Apple Music and all that good stuff, we're able to reach out and hear or listen to those bands. But if you really have an open mind, it's kind of quite amazing the type of metal that exists outside of here, outside of the United States, outside of North America, hell, even in South America. It's quite amazing stuff.
I love it. Even that's just a thing I love about touring is just kind of getting like the culture behind all the music. It's just even in the United States, even going from like different states, like there's definitely influences that different states have. I'm personally really blessed that my band's from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We have like such an incredible music scene out here. Like so many people just pushing each other to get better and better. But Japanese bands are just like they're like their own animal, man. I remember the first time we went, the first show we played over there. We were watching all the locals play, and oh my god, we just looked at each other and we're just like, why are we even here? Like they just were like the energy behind them, just like it was just crazy. We straight up, I feel like, leveled up when we did that tour just because we had to step up so much to compete with these Japanese bands.
Yeah, Crossfaith is another one that it's pretty cool out there as well. That just brings the top level energy and the fans. It's a whole different reaction. And anyone listening to this, if they ever get an opportunity, whenever the hell we're able to get or feel comfortable in a plane, get out of here and go enjoy a concert outside of the United States, because it's quite awesome. But back to the album. So did you guys produce this or write this during this whole pandemic, or was this already kind of in the oven before it started?
We've actually been we've had some of these parts pre-prod since I'd say 2018 actually, and then we've been really writing it since 2018, mainly 2019, and then we touched it up in the summer of 2020, but it was mainly all written in 2019. It was just a matter of scheduling studio time. It was kind of rough with the pandemic.
Yeah, and I know Pennsylvania had it pretty tough with the lockdown. So how were you guys able to put this stuff together, going into studios? Did you go in the studio last year? Or did you guys work remotely, Zoom-wise, or any of these other platforms that people have been using nowadays?
Luckily, the bulk of our album was recorded in 2019. So we had 3 sessions in total that we were able to get into. So the first one was in the beginning of 2019. The second one, the main one, was in the fall, and then that was pretty much completely written. Then we went in to touch up the album and add a few 2 instrumental songs in June, and that was pretty interesting. So it was just a socially distanced studio time.
Isn't it just awkward?
Yeah, it was really awkward, and I mean the studio that we were producing in, they kept having to change just because they just kept having to move their studio just from complications from the pandemic and whatnot. But it was interesting, but I mean it came out incredible. Huge shout out to Atrium Audio, Carson Slovak, and Grant McFarland for producing pretty much all of our music. They're, in my opinion, metalcore gods.
Where do you see now that the metalcore scene going as of 2021? Maybe it's just me, but it seems kind of slowing down, or do you think it's picking up?
Metalcore is such an interesting genre just because everyone defines it so differently. I've heard bands like Knock Loose being considered metalcore, then bands like Sleeping with Sirens becoming labeled as metalcore, where it's such a contrast. But to me, I really think the bulk of the metalcore is kind of going towards this kind of quote unquote new core sound. Like if you look on the Spotify, there's like a Spotify playlist called it. It's just all the bands are all kind of like have this new like kind of, it's almost like an arena rock mixed with like, I don't know, like really heavy toned guitars and ambience, like ambient tone parts and stuff. I really kind of see it going towards that, but I don't know. It always keeps surprising me. Like, I mean, just because with metalcore being so broad. Me personally, my favorite metalcore album of last year, I'd say, is Kingdom of Giants, Passenger. That album was so fresh, in my opinion. It incorporated a bunch of tropes of metalcore as a whole, all put together, and I thought it was just really good. I think Sharp Tone Records is really killing it with signings, and I think Era's doing really well too, with like kind of keeping metalcore really trendy and fresh and paving the way for new things to come.
Yeah, because I find so too some bands they start off metalcore and then they kind of lean towards another genre of rock. One at the top of my head that I could just think of, Bring Me the Horizon, right? They're mainstream. You know, they started really, really dark and heavy. Then they went metalcore-ish. Then I don't know what the hell they went. And then it seems like they're back again. So it's kind of like they're up and down. They're changing.
Yeah, their new album is incredible, in my opinion. I know people give Bring Me the Horizon a lot of shit from their kind of like, I guess you could say, inconsistency with sound. But to me, I don't really think that's the case. I think they're just kind of growing as people and as musicians, and they're just trying to kind of stay on top and do things new. Like, I mean, every time they put out an album, it basically changes the course of metalcore some way or another, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
But I really thought that Kingslayer song with Baby Metal, what a cool feature. My God.
Agreed. No, agreed. That was, wow. It's amazing how they
like
can
an anime song.
Yes, but it's so cool and heavy and with the vocals of the Baby Metal, and then it's all over the place, but it's definitely something new. I don't something fresh. And I don't know who and what can duplicate that, but it's definitely something that caught us off guard here, and a lot of people appreciate it. But we're definitely looking to the new album dropping in February 19th, and hopefully you guys will be on stage very soon. Now, speaking of Mystic Auras, any particular song that you guys are looking forward to performing live, and why?
Me personally, it's probably our song that we put out in December called Death Effect, featuring Brian Will of Currents. I just really like this song because it just like straight up comes out swinging like 180 BPM like right away. It's probably the hardest song on the drums that I've written in a really long time, and it's just full of energy. Like, it's probably the heaviest song that the band has ever written, and I just think it's really cool.
Well, Cody, and I can't wait to hopefully you guys put their Florida on your list there of places to visit. Whenever the hell we get back to normal, hopefully we can mosh pit with a mask, without a mask. I don't care. You know, or a bubble. You know, they're gonna have to put in, the little bubbles that they put people inside and they just roll around like a hamster. I think they're gonna have to put us in one of those, but. Whatever, as long as we can mosh pit. That's what's important. We need to release a lot of this stuff that we've been holding in here. Cody, I want to thank you for your time. Again, Mystic Auras drops February 19th. Scent Like Wolves. You could check out their previous released albums back in 2013, 2016. Catch up on their music, also their singles. And check out the videos and check out some of the merchandise as well available. I know it's always good to share some love to you guys since you guys have been away from the stage. Anything else you want to share? Yeah, Cody. Anything else you want to share?
No, I just appreciate anybody who listens, and hopefully you find something you like in this album. It's definitely full of all sorts of different tropes of the metalcore genre.
Awesome, Cody. Well, make sure to put that there on my workout list and everyone else listening in. Cody, thanks so much. Look forward to the new album. Look forward to checking you on stage very, very soon. A Scent Like Wolves. Check them out.